Welcome to Hello English Teacher. Today let's look at the second part of the line by line explanation of the chapter The Making of a Scientist from class 10 English. If you are watching my video for the first time, please subscribe. You can listen to the explanations of chapters from classes 10, 11 and 12 English. And don't forget to press the bell icon so that you get notified whenever I upload a video. Let's move on to the video now. So we saw how Ebright in his next year's science project was trying to prove a theory where the viceroy butterflies copied the monarchs. So let's move on to the lesson. The theory was that viceroys look like monarchs because monarchs don't taste good to birds. So the viceroy butterflies look like the monarch butterflies, but then monarchs don't taste good to birds. These birds keep eating these butterflies, but then the monarchs don't taste good for the birds. Viceroys on the other hand do taste good to birds. So the more they look like monarchs, the less likely they are to become a bird's dinner. So what they do, the viceroy birds try to look like the monarchs because then they will not be eaten by the birds, because birds don't like the taste of monarch butterflies. So they are less likely to become a bird's dinner. Ebright's project was to see whether in fact birds would eat monarchs. So Ebright's project, what was he trying to do? He was trying to find out whether the birds really eat the monarch butterflies. He found that a starling would not eat ordinary bird food. So what is starling? Starling is a kind of a bird. It is black in color, a small bird. So this bird would not eat what the normal birds eat. It would eat all the monarchs it could get. So this bird starling, it would eat only the monarch butterflies. Ebright said later research by other people showed that viceroys probably do copy the monarch. So what did Ebright say? Some people also did the same research and they found that viceroys copy the monarchs. So this project was placed first in the zoology division and third overall in the county science fair. So he won the third prize in the county science fair. And in the zoology division, it won the first prize. In the second year in high school, Richard Ebright began to research that led to a discovery of an unknown insect hormone. So when he was in the second year high school, he started doing another research, and because of that research, he was able to identify an unknown insect hormone. Indirectly, it also led to his new theory of the life of cells. So because of the discovery of this new hormone, he was able to learn the new theory of the life of cells. The question he tried to answer was simple. What is the purpose of the 12 tiny gold spots on a monarch pupa? So with this discovery, he wanted to find out the answer for a question. So what was that question? There are 12 gold spots, tiny gold spots found on the monarch pupa. So what is the purpose of this gold spot? So that is what he was trying to discover. Everyone assumed the spots were just ornamental, Ebright said. So Ebright told everybody that people thought that these tiny gold spots were only for the purpose of beautifying the pupa, but then he wanted to really find out what is the use of having these tiny gold spots on the monarch pupa. But Dr. Urquhart didn't believe it. To find the answer, Ebright and another excellent science fair student first had to build a device that showed that the spots were producing a hormone necessary for the butterfly's full development. So this Dr. Urquhart did not want to believe that these tiny spots had some purpose. So what Ebright did, he and another friend of his, they built a device and they wanted to show, they also were able to show how the hormone was necessary for the butterfly's development. This project won Ebright first place in the county fair and entry into the International Science and Engineering Fair. So because he was able to show them the result, this project of his about the hormone won the first prize, and he also got an entry into the International Science and Engineering Fair. So his project was able to show that these spots were producing a hormone that is necessary for the full development of a butterfly. There he won the third place for zoology. That means in the international fair he won the third place. He also got a chance to work during the summer at the entomology laboratory of the Walter Reed Army Institute of Research. So during the summer also he got a chance to work at the Walter Reed Army Institute Research Laboratory. As a high school junior, Richard E. Bright continued his advanced experiments on the monarch pupa. So he continued to do his experiments and he studied more about the monarch pupa. You know, pupa is a stage in the life cycle of a butterfly. So this year his project won the first place at the International Science Fair and gave him another chance to work in the Army laboratory during the summer. So again he won the first place, and so again he got a chance to work in the Army laboratory during the summer. In his senior year, he went a step further. So he started doing something in a bigger manner when he was in this senior class. He grew cells from a monarch's wing in a culture and showed that the cells would divide and develop into a normal butterfly wing scales only if they were fed the hormone from the gold spots. So what did he do? He started isolating the cells from the monarch's wings and he started growing them in a culture, and he said that these cells would divide and develop into a normal butterfly wing scales only if they were given the hormone that were developed by the gold spots. So the project won the first place for zoology at the international fair. So this project where he showed that the hormone from the gold spots are necessary for the normal development, full development of the butterfly wing scales, that won him the first prize at the zoology section in the international fair. He spent the summer after graduation doing further work at the Army laboratory and at the laboratory of the US Department of Agriculture. So he spent a lot of time in these various laboratories doing a lot of research. The following summer, after his freshman year at Harvard University, E. Bright went back to the laboratory of the Department of Agriculture and did more work on the hormone from the gold spots. So when he was in first year in college, so during that time he went back to the laboratory of the Department of Agriculture and did more work to find out about the hormone produced by the gold spots. Using the laboratory's sophisticated instruments, he was able to identify a hormone's chemical structure. So when he started working in this laboratory of the Agriculture Department, he was able to use all the sophisticated instruments. So highly technical instruments he was able to use, and so with that he was able to identify the structure of the hormone, the chemical structure of the hormone. A year and a half later, during his junior year, E. Bright got the idea for his new theory about cell life. So after 1.5 years, what happened? He got another idea, and it was a theory about the life of a cell. It came while he was looking at X-ray photos of the chemical structure of the hormone. So how did he get this idea? He got this idea when he was looking at the X-ray of the chemical structure of this hormone. So when he saw those photos, E. Bright didn't shout "Eureka" or even "I have got it," but he believed that along with his findings about insect hormones, the photos gave him the answer to one of biology's puzzles: how the cell can read the blueprint of its DNA. So when he saw these photos, when he was looking at the X-rays, he was able to identify something very intricate. So what did he understand? He was able to give an answer to the question. So this question was a puzzle for all the biologists. So he was able to find an answer for it. What was the question? How the cell can read the blueprint of a DNA. That is how a cell can identify a DNA. DNA is the substance in the nucleus of a cell that controls heredity. So you must have learnt about this DNA in your biology. What is DNA? It is deoxyribonucleic acid that is found in the nucleus, and with this substance only you will be able to know the characters or qualities that you have inherited from your parents. It determines the form and function of the cell, that is the DNA determines the form and function of the cell. Thus, DNA is a blueprint for life. So, with the help of DNA, you can identify the form and function. So, he is saying it is the blueprint of life. Ebright and his college roommate James R. Wong worked all that night drawing pictures and constructing plastic models of molecules to show how it could happen. So, he and his friend did a lot of work by drawing pictures and making plastic models and how this DNA could or the cell could identify the blueprint of a DNA. Together, they later wrote the paper that explained the theory. So, both of them wrote a paper, that means they prepared a paper with all their findings. They prepared a report with all their findings. Surprising no one who knew him, Richard E. Bright graduated from Harvard with highest honors, second in his class of 1510. So, he got one of the highest, he stood second in his class. And how many students were there in his class at Harvard? There were about 1500 students, and in that he was second, he ranked second. So, Ebright went on to become a graduate student researcher at Harvard Medical School. So, he was a research student at the Harvard Medical School. There he began doing experiments to test his theory. If the theory proves correct, it will be a big step towards understanding the process of life. So, he started doing some research in order to prove his theory. So, once his theory was correct, then it will be a big step towards the understanding the process of life. It might also lead to new ideas for preventing some types of cancer and other disease. So, if he was able to prove his theory right, that would help to prove many diseases like cancer, etc. So, all of this is possible because of Ebright's scientific curiosity. So, we know that all this is possible only because of his curiosity. We know that from child itself how curious Ebright was. So, his high school research into the purpose of the spots on a monarch pupa eventually led him to his theory about cell life. So, what is the reason for him to find out this theory about this cell life? It was because of his curiosity on the gold spots that were there on the monarch pupa. Richard E. Bright has been interested in science since he had first been collecting butterflies. So, we know that from the time he started collecting butterflies, he was interested in science, but not so deeply that he hasn't time for other interests. So, he had other interests as well. Ebright also became a champion debater and public speaker and a good canoeist and all-round outdoors person. So, he was interested in debating. He was also a public speaker and he was also a good canoeist. What is a canoeist? One who who rows, it's a water sport, okay, and all around outdoors person. He is also an expert photographer, particularly of nature and scientific exhibits. So, he also was interested in photography and he likes to take pictures of nature and other scientific instruments or exhibits. In high school, Richard E. Bright was a straight A student. So, when he was in school, he used to get A grade in all these subjects. Because learning was easy, he turned a lot of his energy towards the debating and Model United Nations Club. So, because he was interested in debating, he was also a participant in the Model United Nations Club. He also found someone to admire, Richard A. Wehrer, his social studies teacher and advisor to both clubs. So, he was very fond of one of his teachers. What was his name? Richard A. Wehrer. He was actually his social teacher and he was also the advisor to both the clubs, the debating club and the Model United Nations Club. Mr. Wehrer was the perfect person for me then. He opened my mind to new ideas, Ebright said. So, Ebright attributes all his success even to Mr. Wehrer because he was the one who created interest and asked him to open his mind to new ideas. Richard would always give that extra effort, Mr. Wehrer said. So, what did Mr. Richard say about this boy? He said he was also giving his extra effort all the time. What pleased me was here was this person who put in 3 or 4 hours at night doing debate research besides doing all his research with butterflies and his other interests. So, what is this Mr. Richard Weir saying? This boy, along with his research on the butterflies, he would also do a lot of research to finish his debates and other activities. So, that was what attracted this boy towards this teacher. Richard was competitive, Mr. Weir continued, but not in a bad sense. So, he says that Richard was a very competitive boy, not in a bad way. That means he didn't want people to be defeated, but only he wanted to do more and more research and try to find out things that would help the whole world. He explained, Richard wasn't interested in winning for winning's sake or winning to get a prize. Rather, he was winning because he wanted to do the best job he could. So, that is what I said. So, he was not participating just because for winning, but he always wanted to do the best. Okay, so, that is why he was always competitive, and that is one of the ingredients in making of a scientist. And Mr. Weir said that is one of the qualities of a person who wants to become a scientist. So, what is the quality? Trying to be very competitive in the good sense. Start with first rate mind, add curiosity and mix in the will to win for the right reasons. Ebright had these qualities. So, he was explaining what are the qualities that you need to become a good scientist. First, you have to start with a fresh mind. Then you need to have a lot of curiosity, and then you always need to be competitive. You need to win because you want to show your best. So, all these qualities were exhibited by Ebright. From the time the book The Travels of Monarch X opened the world of science to him, Richard Ebright has never lost his scientific curiosity. So, from the time he got this book called The Travels of Monarch X, who gave him this book? It was his mother. So, from the time he got this book, the curiosity in him had never stopped. So, he continued to have his curiosity and his competitiveness. So, that is what made him to become one of the best known scientists. So, I hope you liked today's video. For more informative videos, do subscribe to Hello English Teacher. Like, share and give your valuable comments below. Thank you for watching.